The biggest mistake most of the HR freshers make in their first job, which keeps them stuck at early level, mediocre level, and never let them reach the management level where they can be CHRO, VPHR, all that good stuff. And that mistake is how they show up in their first job, or I should say in first few jobs, like from first year to 5 years of their career, how they show up in their HR jobs quietly decide whether they are going to reach that CHRO level, that VPHR level or not. The difference between the two, the one who gets stuck at early or middle career and the one who reaches the management level, is exposure to right kind of HR work. Your first HR job or first few HR jobs will look transactional. Nobody will trust you with decision making. Nobody will give you strategy kind of work. So if you are waiting for that kind of work from the day one, that's not going to happen, and you will be waiting forever, because that's not how things work. All the initial HR jobs look same on the surface. JDs are unreliable, and you cannot really predict the exposure that a job will give you before joining it, because on papers, on JD, on offer letter, everything just looks the same. The problem really is not the job that you're picking, not the type of company that you are joining. The problem is really how you show up in that job. Now let me tell you how exactly your first HR job will look like for most of the time. Your daily work will include offer letters, background verification follow-ups, attendance, leave issues, Excel trackers, employee queries, vendor coordination. And then someday in your life you will think, is this the HR job? That's it? This is the HR work, real HR work? Now here is something critical. That work in itself is not the problem. That work is going to be there. Every HR that you admire today, every HR that has reached that level started with that kind of work. They did that work, but they did that same work very differently. The difference is not the work, the difference is how you relate to it. And now let me clearly break down the two paths. Path number one, where most of the HR freshers go and they mentally accept that they are just the task doers. So how that path goes, I'll discuss that. And then I'll also discuss the second path, where the person does the same job, has the same job title, same manager, same company, but does it very differently, and that's why they reach that management level. So let's discuss both the paths. Let's start with the first path. Most of the freshers show up in their job with this mindset that I am new, I shouldn't ask any stupid question, let me just do what I'm told. I do not want to look over smart or annoying. As long as I don't make mistake, I am safe. So they finish tasks, wait for the next instruction, they keep their head down, measure their success by compliance or how good are they at executing the task. And you know what's the most dangerous part about this? It's not that they're lazy or they are bad HRs, no. They become very reliable in executing all these tasks. And the most dangerous part is when you become that reliable in just executing the task, that company rewards you with more work of that kind. They'll give you more transactional work, and you will become a very good assistant kind of HR, if that makes sense. And here is the clear reason why all of this kills your career growth. When you do this kind of transactional work with this mindset of let me do whatever I'm asked for, I did this task, then move on to the next task, the third task, I'm very busy, I'm very good at this. When you do these kind of tasks, after 3-4 years in your HR career, you will realize that you have done a lot of work, but you do not understand how HR really works or how HR decisions are made. You do not know why these policies exist, what is the reason behind it, why companies have these policies. You do not feel confident speaking in interviews because so far you have only executed the task. You do not have any depth. You are doing what you are asked to do. And you're not confident because somewhere deep you know that even a simple graduate, even somebody who has just done their schooling till 12th with good communication skills can execute all of these tasks. What's so special that you with an MBA in HR is doing this task? That realization will strike you, and that would be the reason why you will face interviews with not so much confidence, and that will show in your body language, and you will not be able to get roles that give you growth. And believe it or not, this is the main reason why people get stuck at salary of 25k, 30k, 35k for years. I mean, I have personally seen people who have like 8-9 years of experience and still earning like 55k 50K kind of salary. I mean, not worth it. So now let's discuss the path number 2. For the people who show up differently for the same kind of work. The job is same, manager is same, company is same, but this is how they show up. Even if they are doing a simple task of onboarding, let's say. So while doing that onboarding, they will ask what usually goes wrong in these onboardings and why exactly this thing goes wrong every single time. Why there is delay exactly in this process in the joining formalities. They'll dig down that issue. Now take another example. If they are sending offer letters, while doing that simple job of sending offer letters, is if somebody has declined the offer, they will think and inquire why offer dropouts are happening for this specific role. They are not limited to, okay, send the offer letter, that was my role. Now the person has declined the offer, now it's recruitment team's job to figure out the other candidate. No, they goes behind the scene that why offer dropouts are happening for this position. Are we paying less? Is this title not aligned? Is there something that we are missing, the company is missing, that the other companies in the market are doing? Are we underpaying for this role? So you see how the thinking is going beyond just sending a document over email. Let's take another example. They are handling attendance. Usually freshers are handed over that kind of task because those are very time consuming, but it requires very less thought process to do all of that tracking and all. It's very transactional. So the person on this path who is set to have a successful career will think, why there's always delay in submitting time for this particular team? Is it only a particular team in marketing or sales which is struggling with attendance submission on time, maybe because they have a visit outside the office? Or you understand the point? They do not just deliver that tracker that, hey, these people have filled, these people have not filled, this is the count, my job done. No, people who are on this path, they think in depth for everything. They try to analyze the trends, they recognize the patterns, and it's not that they just go on very first day, in very first week, or in the very first month and try to be super smart. Okay, I've observed this thing happening. No, they just quietly observe, they recognize the pattern, they try to learn and observe. And is it something which is a known issue? If it is a known issue, how my senior manager or HR manager is handling this issue? What are the reasons we are struggling with these issues? And when the time is right, the person shares his point of view. And these people do not demand authority or power. No, they are very quietly building the context so that they are aware about everything. Tomorrow, when there is a meeting happening about any issue and this person happens to be there as just a junior HR, nobody expect anything from this person, is in the meeting just to take notes or just to be there. And all of a sudden, when you present your point of view, because you have observed so much, not to brag, just to share inputs what you have observed from past few months, that makes so much difference. Everybody in that meeting, including the manager, and if there's somebody senior in the team, they will from that point on start counting on this person's input and will invite this person in the meeting, whatever meeting that is. And that's how very slowly the person will start getting less that transactional and time consuming laborious work, and will start getting more and more of strategic work. It's not like somebody is giving served on a plate strategic work to that person. That person has quietly earned it by showing up differently in the same job, where most of the freshers come with this mindset, you tell me what needs to be done, I'll just do that. If the fresher is asked to do ABC, they'll just do ABC and say, I have done my task, time to go home. But those people do not work like that. They first try to understand, if this work is given to me, work ABC, why it is given to me, who will use the output of this work that I'm doing. If I delay it or something goes wrong with it, who will get influenced, what will be the impact of it, how important or not important it is, from where these inputs have come, what all is required for me to give this in best possible way, to deliver it in best possible way. You see the difference? It's huge. And to be honest, decision making is never given to freshers by default. It is unlocked when those freshers start thinking in consequences. Manager will loop such a person, such a junior HR in meetings who can anticipate issues, who understand the impact, who do not need spoon feeding for the context. Not because these freshers all of a sudden become seniors, no. It's because they are mentally present. They are doing their work, same work, with more context. And this is the sole reason why people who make it to the top level get extra exposure. It's not luck. It's not that they got lucky, that they got this extra exposure which made them to climb that ladder and eventually become so senior in their career. It is simply because extra or right exposure follow the thinking, not the transactional work, or not just being busy with laborious work. Now here are some practical ways which will help you to show up rightly in your job. Number one is, from the day one or from whatever day you are watching this video, start maintaining an HR notebook. And it's not just for this job. This will become your Bible for your entire career. Because believe me, right now when you're getting these exposures and you are learning how somebody has fixed that issue, how you are fixing this issue, what are the steps that you are taking, you think that you'll remember. But after 3 years, when you are in another job and the same incident happened, you will not remember what were the steps taken. And initially, there is that hesitation that you cannot ask everything from the seniors. So this book will come to your rescue, and you will have at least a starting point that you did it in this way in that job. Right now, when that incident is happening, you will feel that you do not need to record it. You will remember. But I am telling you, I have almost 13 years of experience into HR. I still sometimes struggle to remember how I dealt with that situation in my first or second company, because you cannot remember. Your memory will not serve at that time. And this I have learned after a very long time. And then I started maintaining my HR book, and the result is amazing. The result is so much so that I'm able to share so much knowledge with you guys, because I have been documenting things from a very long time. Number two, whenever you are assigned a task, ask yourself, if you were an HRBP, how would you handle it? Would you still say, okay, let me just finish this Excel sheet and then I'm out? Would you do it a similar way? If tomorrow you want to become an HRBP or whatever you want to become, start executing from that space now. Now when you're still junior. Number three, listen carefully to senior HR's language, what they're saying and also what they are not saying. Many times you will find that there will be scenarios, situations, difficult situation or conversations that your senior HR person is taking, and at times you will see that they could have said so many things in that scenario, but they don't say it. So it's very important that you observe those details. Yes, obviously you know what they have said, but you have to also understand why they did not say the very obvious thing that you are thinking in your mind, that the person could have said that. They already know that they could have said that, but they are not saying it on purpose, because HR is a very political job. You should know how to read in between the lines. So that is very important that you learn it by observing very early on. And number four, track the problems, not just tasks. HR is one department which deals with a lot of problems of employees, problems of management, problems of vendors, problem of new joinees. There are problems everywhere, every day. So you, instead of tracking the task that I've done this task, tomorrow I have to do this task, start tracking problems. Because when you execute with a mindset of tracking the problem, you'll be able to solve that problem. You'll be able to build a design, a process which will then not have that recurring problem, which is such a pain point from so long. Because HR is built on maturity. The successful HR career is built on maturity, and that maturity comes from solving the problem and not just doing the tasks. And if you follow these practical steps to show up right in your job, you will see the difference after 2-3 years. After 2-3 years, you'll see that you are confident. You are confident to speak in interviews because you know in and out of HR. You know if that policy exists, why it exists. You know that if there is a problem with employee engagement, something is happening, why that problem is happening, because you have already worked from that mindset. You didn't come in this interview just by doing tasks, one completed, second completed, third completed. No, you have actually built so much context, and you know, and you have your HR notebook, your Bible, all the scenarios, all the incidents that happened are recorded there. So whenever there is an interview, you have the case studies with you, which you can share with whatever relevant question the person asks. And believe me, it will make such a huge difference. That person will start seeing you as a valuable HR resource and not just as somebody who is only capable of HR support kind of stuff, HR admin kind of tasks. And that gives you a very high negotiation power. You can negotiate really good there. You can get a huge salary jump there. Unlike the person who has followed path one, where they are just switching from one HR support kind of role to another, where they'll just say, yeah, I used to send these many letters, I used to onboard 20, 30 employees in a month, I used to respond to these many background verifications, I used to source these many resumes. So that is path one. Path two is very different. And once you have done all this learning with the context and you actually know how things work in HR, the way you speak in interviews will dramatically change, and the person will be surprised to see such a valuable HR at such a young age, because believe me, it's very rare. It's very rare to have HRs that early having that much of knowledge, and then you will be out of the competition. There is no competition for you because it's very rare, and the moment you appear for the interview, the job is yours. That is the beauty of knowing HR in and out, knowing why things are happening this way. And this shift from executor to real HR person is never taught in any college, is never taught in any book. Some people never learn it in their career, and then they keep getting stuck in their career. Some leave the HR career midway, that it's not a high paying career. And then there are some people who learn it after a lot of trial and error and after a very long time, after wasting so many years, and then they lose out on so much that they could have done, monetary growth as well as learning growth. And then there are very, very few people who learn it intentionally, who learn it deliberately. And those are the people who are able to scale like crazy in their HR careers. And if you want to become that kind of person who is aware from the day one that how things work in HR, what is done, why, what is the reason behind it, what is the context behind everything, what is the day of a real HR looks like in real life. If you really want to learn all of that, everything is linked below in the description for you, and I would be more than happy to welcome you in that journey, in that learning journey. With that, I'm signing off. You let me know what part of the video resonated with you the most, or what you want me to talk more about, any specific topic. You let me know in the comment section and I will try to explain that in my upcoming videos. With that, I'm signing off. You keep on watching more content on the HR destination, and I will see you in my next one. Till then, stay safe and healthy. Take care. Bye.